Salutations, friends! Geeky American Otaku here. It's been a while, but I think it's time I got back on the wagon, and I'm going to try and be more consistent with making my videos. With that in mind, here's the newest edition of my new series, The Top 10. The subject of this edition of the Top 10 is the top 10 Wii U games that need to be on Nintendo Switch. For once, this video is not about game shows. In fact, I'm hoping to cover more topics other than game shows in my videos to get more attention. Of course, I'll still be making more videos about game shows, but, I want to try and broaden my horizons, if you will. Anyway, with that in mind, in this video, I'm going to cover 10 games that were on Nintendo's Wii U, but they have yet to make the jump to the Nintendo Switch for some reason or another. Usually because Nintendo is, they're lazy, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, since the Wii U was Nintendo's least successful console, I've had a little difficulty finding 10 games. Anyway, some of them are pretty obvious, some of them might be somewhat obscure. And as with my previous video, I posted the chances of my choices happening. With that in mind, let's get to the list, and quickly, before Nintendo's copyright goons take it down. Number 10, Splatoon, the game that started a now-beloved franchise. You play as the squid-like inklings and shoot brightly colored ink using special weapons in turf wars and swim and hide in surfaces by transforming into squid form. Oddly enough, you can't swim. Anyway, the game also featured 4-on-4 online multiplayer and a single-player campaign mode known as Octo Valley. Chances of it coming to Switch? Almost zero. Splatoon was released in 2015, and then 2 years later, after the Nintendo Switch launched, a sequel debuted that improved upon the original game and effectively rendered the first game obsolete. And now, the third game, Splatoon 3, is coming out on September 9th, and it will add even more improvements. However, I am hoping that Nintendo could at least release the first game's single-player mode, Octo Valley, as a standalone eShop title so players can learn more about the lore of the series. Number 9. Nintendo Land. This game, released in 2012, Nintendo Land is an amusement park with 12 minigames stylized as attractions based on the many Nintendo franchises. You play as your Mii, and after your robot host Monita gives the rules, you compete in minigames such as Mario Chase, Luigi's Ghost Mansion, and Animal Crossing Sweet Day, or you play team games such as Pikmin Adventure, Metroid Blast, and The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest. Chances of it coming to the Switch? 5 to 10%. This game was definitely interesting. It was interesting to play the game with my nephew and my now 77-year-old mom, and we usually played Mario Chase and Luigi's Mansion. And I usually lost. In fact, when it came to Luigi's Mansion, we always lost. Anyway, the game also sold well for Wii U standards, but this game would need a complete overhaul, since for the most part it was designed with the Wii U's gamepad in mind, and would have to be rebuilt almost from the ground up. But with the opening of Super Nintendo World happening at Universal Studios in LA and in Florida in the next couple of years, it might not be a bad idea. Number 8, Zombie U. One of the Wii U's launch games, this survival horror game by Ubisoft has the main character surviving a zombie apocalypse in the remains of London following what was known as the Black Prophecy, predicted 400 years earlier by English scientist John Dee, who was a real man, believe it or not. Anyway, the player is contacted by the Prepper, a mysterious figure who tasks them to maintain his safe house in order to be properly prepared for survival in what is left of London. All the while, the survivor seeks out a cure for the infection at the behest of the mysterious Dr. Knight, a scientist-slash-doctor stationed at Buckingham Palace. Players explore London to find weapons and items while fighting zombies using weapons such as firearms and an unbreakable cricket bat. Zombies are sensitive to light and attracted to loud sounds, and one twist in the game is that if the player dies, the death is permanent, and you then assume the role of another survivor, while the old player becomes a zombie that you need to reclaim your gear from. Chances of it coming to the Switch? 25 to 30%. The game received generally favorable reviews and was ported to other systems, where it was simply called Zombie. Unfortunately, it still didn't sell well, and this resulted in a sequel being cancelled and Ubisoft making the originally Wii U exclusive Rayman Legends available for other consoles. The biggest criticisms of the game included gameplay, multiplayer, story, and of course, the use of the gamepad. The game also suffered from glitches and slow load times. The non-Wii U versions were criticized as well for not making graphical improvements, although it did de-emphasize the use of the gamepad. Despite its failure, Zombie U nonetheless shaped the asynchronous gameplay of Ubisoft's 2014 mega hit Watch Dogs, which has spawned its own franchise. So Zombie U, or more specifically Zombie, could be ported to the Switch as an eShop title after some polishing. Number 7, Sonic Lost World. Released on the Wii U in 2013, Sonic's first Wii U adventure, and it was definitely better than Sonic Boom, it saw the blue blur end up in a sky world called the Lost Hex, where his archenemy, Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, enlisted the aid of a group of the indigenous Zeddy race called the Deadly Six, using a magical conch to keep them under his command.
All hail the magic conch!
However, Sonic stupidly kicked the conch away, and the Deadly Six betrayed Eggman and took control of his Badnik army, and they used one of Robotnik's machines to siphon the energy from Sonic's world down below until it's completely dry, and the Deadly Six will become even more powerful. Robotnik reluctantly is forced to team up with Sonic to defeat the Deadly Six. It's your typical Sonic game, and it featured Sonic sprinting through side-scrolling 2D levels, fast-moving 3D linear levels, and levels taking place on spherical worlds. Chances of it coming to the Switch? About 40%. The game received mixed reviews, and although it was praised for visuals and audio, the criticism was aimed at its level design, the controls, in particular a new parkour mechanic, and the Deadly Six. Nonetheless, Sega seems to be open to remastering some of their classic games. The Sonic Origins collection, along with Sonic Colors and Super Monkey Ball, seem to suggest that more remasters are indeed coming. So, Sonic Lost World could see the light of day on the newer consoles, and in my opinion, it could benefit from a remaster. With Sonic finding new life, thanks to his successful movies and Sonic Frontier coming out in November, anything is possible. Number 6, Xenoblade Chronicles X. A spiritual successor to Xenoblade Chronicles set in the year 2054, players take control of a customizable avatar and explore the open-world planet of Mira, completing a variety of quests and unlocking new regions to explore and gather resources from across Mira's 5 continents after humanity is forced to escape Earth before it's destroyed in the crossfire of an interstellar war. To escape, humanity builds interstellar arcs to terraform and colonize new planets. One of the surviving arcs, the White Whale, is attacked and sent to Mira, where the life hold containing most of the human colonists is separated from the arc, and the life pods are then scattered across Mira. The player's pod is found by Elma, the leader of Blade, builders of the legacy after the destruction of Earth, and you team up with Elma, Lin Li Ku, a girl engineer, and former U.S. Army officer Lao Huang. Together, they search for the life hold and more life pods while battling multiple alien races, which are part of the Ganglion Coalition. Their ultimate goal? Destroy humanity. What else?
Of course!
Chances of it coming to the Switch? 30 to 40%. The game was well received by critics and fans of the Xeno series, and the basic engine and foundation work of which was used in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. However, creator Tetsuya Takahashi said that while he would love to bring Xenoblade Chronicles X to the Switch, he says that money is an issue, and that reconfiguring it to the Switch would be difficult due to the game's massive size. And with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coming out in July, Monolith Soft probably won't do anything until after that game is released, if at all. However, since the game uses the Wii U's Pro Controller, a port to the Switch is not impossible, and the fans want it. So again, anything can happen, especially following the release of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Number 5, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. A follow-up of the 2005 DS game Kirby Canvas Curse, this 2015 title featured everyone's favorite pink puffball in a clay-like world by moving Kirby across the level, drawing rainbow-colored lines on the Wii U gamepad's touchscreen to guide him. The plot is, when all the color from Dreamland is drained, Aline, a paintbrush fairy from the land of Seventopia, frees Kirby and Bandana Waddle Dee and helps them restore Planet Popstar's color and life force, having Aline painting magical rainbow rope, allowing Kirby, trapped in ball form, to travel across Seventopia, where they run into Ellie's former friend, Glacia, who has been turned evil. During his quest, Kirby can go through loops, increasing his speed and collecting 100 stars to give him a star dash, allowing him to charge through normally indestructible blocks. Kirby also has the ability to change his form, such as into a submarine, a rocket, and a tank. Chances of it coming to Switch? 10 to 15%. The game was received well enough, particularly its visuals, but the biggest drawback the game has was its pervasive use of the gamepad and the fact that the stylus was not very accurate. So in order for the game to even be ported to the Switch, they would have to de-emphasize the use of the touchscreen controls and create an entirely new control scheme. Of course, with the Switch having two superior Kirby titles and star allies, and especially Kirby and the Forgotten Land, it's very unlikely Rainbow Curse will be coming to Switch. Number 4, Star Fox Zero. The most recent game in the fan-favorite Star Fox franchise, not counting Star Fox 2, Zero is essentially a remake of the classic Star Fox 64, where Fox McCloud and his team travel across the Lilat system, battling Andross and their rival team Starwolf, while piloting their R-Wings through 10 different worlds. In addition to the trademark R-Wing, the Star Fox team can transform their craft into a bipedal walker. The Landmaster tank returns and can become the Gravmaster tank, allowing for aerial maneuvers, and the new Gyro Wing, a drone-like helicopter which can lower a small robot that can enter small spaces, hack into computers, or latch onto explosive cubes that can then be dropped onto an enemy. The game was known for its really odd control scheme, where a player held the gamepad in front of their face while using the left control stick to maneuver the craft, while gyroscopic controls can be used to aim weapons. A cockpit view is displayed on the TV to assist with aiming. The minus button on the gamepad can then be used to swap the two displays at any time. Chances of it coming to Switch? About 50-50. The game received mixed reviews from critics, with the biggest criticism by far being the controls and the short campaign mode and similarity to Star Fox 64. However, the positives included the level design and the boss battles. The main reason I put the chances of coming to Switch this high was because the game was developed by Platinum Games, and its company head and producer, Atsushi Inaba, stated in an interview with Video Game Chronicles that he would love to bring the game to the Switch. However, any changes have to be approved by Nintendo. The Star Fox series longtime artist Takaya Imamura also stated that he'd like for that to happen. Star Fox Zero could definitely benefit from a remaster, and if they could remove the old control scheme, there is a good chance that we could indeed be doing a barrel roll once again. Platinum did a great job remastering the Wonderful 101, so anything can happen. Number 3, Yoshi's Woolly World. The first Yoshi game on a console since Yoshi's Story on N64, Yoshi's Woolly World was developed by Goodfeel, who made the similar Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii 5 years earlier. In this game, the characters and environment are composed of yarn and cloth. The evil Magic Koopa Kamek returns, and turns all but 2 of the Yoshis on Yoshi's Island into balls of yarn and scattered them to different worlds. The Yoshis that did escape pursue Kamek across 6 different worlds, rescuing their friends, and take on both Kamek and Baby Bowser in the final castle at the end. The gameplay is similar to the other Yoshi games, including Yoshi using his tongue to swallow enemies and using his flutter jump to reach high areas. However, in this game, swallowing enemies turns them into balls of yarn, not eggs. But yarn balls have various uses when thrown, such as tying up enemies or filling in certain platforms and objects. Players can also toggle anytime between Classic Mode and Mellow Mode, the latter of which gives Yoshi a pair of wings so less skilled players can fly indefinitely through a stage. Chances of it coming to the Switch? 30 to 35%. Yoshi's Woolly World was a well-received game critically and even saw an updated version on the 3DS called Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. However, the game has since been surpassed by Yoshi's Crafted World, released on the Switch in 2019. But since a lot of players missed out on the Woolly experience, Nintendo could possibly bring back this game to the Switch via eShop. Of course, it would be at a reduced price. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker HD. First released on the GameCube way back in 2003, Wind Waker had a mixed reaction with its cel-shaded animation, with some fans derisively calling it Zelda. I personally, however, thought it was still a great game, and over time, the game's reputation in general has improved, and it is now one of the most beloved in the series. It even spawned 2 sequels on the DS, and the game's version of Link, Toon Link, has appeared in other games, most notably as a fighter in Smash. In 2013, the game was brought over to the Wii U and updated in HD with improved graphics, as well as a more streamlined quest to find the Triforce of Courage near the end of the game. The game also added a more challenging hero mode and a swift sail, making traveling across the Great Sea faster, along with better camera controls, sped-up animations, and a retooled first-person camera. Also, the gamepad allowed players to swap out inventory items without having to pause. The chances of it coming to the Switch? 50 to 60%. Nintendo knows that The Wind Waker is beloved by many Zelda fans, and it's clearly a no-brainer that they need to bring the game to the Switch. Since again, many fans missed out on the HD remake on the Wii U. I was lucky enough to get to play the original GameCube version when it first came out in 2003, but I would love to try the HD version. And unfortunately, Wii U prices are starting to go up now. In fact, one store in Los Angeles sells them for up to $180. So it might be out of some people's price range. But in any case, if the Wind Waker was brought to the Switch, some changes would need to be made to the controls, obviously. There would need to be a handheld mode and an ability to play in docked mode using either Joy-Cons or the Pro Controller. So while the game wouldn't need to be rebuilt from the ground up, it would still need some changes. But it's not impossible. So let's hope Nintendo gets on it soon. And the number one Wii U game that needs to be brought to the Nintendo Switch? The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. The Zelda game fans wanted for years, and in my opinion, the second best in the franchise, behind only Ocarina of Time. Don't flame me, please. Twilight Princess is considered by many to be the most mature Zelda of them all, and it's easy to see why. It was the first, and so far only, Zelda title to get a T rating from the ESRB. It's basically the Zelda game longtime fans had hoped for. The game was originally released on the GameCube and was also a launch title for the Wii in 2006. It then got an HD upgrade for the Wii U 10 years later, which featured improved graphics, especially underwater scenes. It sped up otherwise long cutscenes and reduced repetitive gameplay elements, such as collecting the Tears of Light while in the Twilight Realm. The chances of the game coming to Switch? 55 to 65%. Twilight Princess is right up there with Wind Waker in the games that must definitely be brought to the Switch. Last year, we actually got an HD remake of Skyward Sword, and with Breath of the Wild 2 delayed until next year, Nintendo will definitely need to release a new Zelda game to fill the void. There has been rampant speculation that Wind Waker and or Twilight Princess will be coming to the Switch sometime this year. However, Australian-based Tantalus Media, which developed the HD remakes of both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, have said in an interview they have not gotten any word from Nintendo yet about porting Twilight Princess HD to the Switch, although they would love to do so if they were given the opportunity. That doesn't mean that the game isn't coming to the Switch, though. It's always possible Nintendo found another developer to do the Switch version. And until Nintendo says otherwise, we should not give up hope. We'll probably know something in the next Nintendo Direct. But thankfully, I can play the GameCube version. And that's my list of top 10 Wii U games that need to be brought to Nintendo Switch. If you can think of any other games you'd like to see on the Switch, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm the Geeky American Otaku. And to any politicians out there who want to ban video games, I can say this. You can have my games when you pry them from my cold, dead hands!
Deep hurt.